What up, everybody? Just trying to catch the last bits of sunlight today, uh, because it's one of my last days on the Big Island. So I thought this would be perfect to try to catch like the evening sunset and do my daily video. And I wanted to talk today about how much I realize I love being toured around by like a tour guide or a local, someone who really knows an area, because I feel like there's so much you can research and look up on your phone and read in books about a place. But to be in a place when someone has actually lived there and explored and has really taken the time to learn the area and learn the history of the area, it makes the experience so much richer than reading about it in a book and exploring on your own. And this is why I keep talking about this. I really encourage people to group travel or even hire tour guides when you get to places. Um, Use Viator, to hire a local guide because you just learn so much more. And I feel like the experience is just fuller and funner. I I know when I'm solo traveling, I really enjoy, for example, when I was in Greece, I was in Athens and I was by myself and I went and saw the Acropolis and did the whole tour on my own, but I downloaded when I bought my ticket, you could download an Audible, and it's cool because it like kind of geo maps where you are on the tour and then tells you about that location and what you're looking at and it was cool. Like you had your own built-in tour guide. So I learned a lot just by having a tour guide, even though it was a video or audio. But then one thing I do love about traveling solo is once I left the Acropolis, I kind of just meandered through the streets and sometimes you just happen upon really cool stuff. A gelateria. I mean, that's more that's more Italy, but like you find little shops and little corner stores and places to eat or places to have a coffee that you wouldn't normally find when you're on a guided tour. But in this particular case in Greece, I did find this great restaurant, but it was recommended to me by a local. It was recommended to me by the taxi driver. And I've realized over the last decade and a half, when I visit places, I've done a lot of things based on recommendations by locals or even tour guides. Uh, And a ton of it has come from taxis and taxi drivers. And a lot of times when I first get in a taxi, when I get to a country, like I start asking questions like, hey, I'm staying in this neighborhood, because obviously that's where they're dropping me off. And I say, where's the best place to eat within walking distance? Or do you recommend a something not to miss in the area, especially if I know I'm going to be walking a lot. Or in like Bangkok in Thailand, there's so much metro and trains, and you can get a taxi bike for virtually nothing to get you around. So sometimes you don't have to limit it to your walking area, but if a taxi costs $70 to get somewhere, sometimes you kind of try to plan your stay in the area that you want to explore. But anyway, let me get back to using locals and using people who know the area as your as your research, you can read all the books in the world, you can Google all the stuff online, but really the people that know the place best are the ones that live there, the ones that have explored there. And sometimes they just know the best restaurant, that hasn't come up on Google yet or that hasn't been discovered yet. And those are some of my favorite days have been getting advice from a local taxi driver, concierge in a hotel, and then other times just walking around and finding it myself. But for me, I really enjoy, I know I kind of started off on one area, but I love solo travel to explore and find things that I wouldn't normally find in a group setting. But I ultimately love exploring with people who are super excited and just love to show you around, are so knowledgeable about the place. Those are some of my other favorite days because just their enthusiasm and their excitement to share it with someone else makes me excited. It's kind of like you go to a anywhere. You go to a restaurant and you want to buy a sandwich, and the guy behind the counter is like, "What do you want?" It doesn't, you don't really want to buy a sandwich from that guy because he's like grumpy pants. But then you have the next shop over, the guy's like, "What can I get you? This one's really good and this one's really good." And when you have tour guides like that, or you have locals, or you have friends, or you have a taxi driver that's like so excited to show you their place, you're like, "Heck yeah, I want to go there and I want to go there and I want to go there." And suddenly it's like this amazing just experience because of the people you're experiencing it with. And so today, uh, I got to experience that with the couple I've been staying with here on the Big Island. They showed me around and kind of their like beach that they like to snorkel at, and then there's a bunch of history about Hawaii there, and they've done so much exploring and so much research that it was just so cool to hear it from someone who's lived here a while now and loves the history, loves to show it to other people. That was such a gift to have today. So I'm kind of a little nervous about moving on, especially going to Bali on my own. Because when I'm exploring on my own, sometimes I tend to not be as adventurous. Uh, because when I'm around people with like the energy and the excitement of the areas, then it makes me energetic and excited about the areas. So I really need to kind of recognize that once I get to Bali and really kind of make myself get out of my comfort zone and explore places with my own energy, right? Give myself the excitement that I need to keep going further afield, or read about a place and then go there, and then like I said earlier, talking to like the taxi drivers and stuff, like where should I go next? Where should I go next? So yeah, I was really recognizing today my how much my excitement increases when the people around me are showing me things and their excitement is big. So, it's so exciting. I'm so glad I got to see parts of Hawaii today that I haven't seen and experience some new things. And yeah, I'm so happy you're here with me and enjoying the sunset behind me. I guess you can't really tell from the video. I guess it's not really like it's been hazy. They call it VOG, so it's volcano fog. And it's been like that ever since, when they have like sprouting events and things, it tends to kind of cloud up the atmosphere, and so the sunsets aren't as majestic, I guess you could say. So, anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.